Hello everybody and welcome back to another Roblox video. This is Blocks and Builds and today we are back in Kaiju Universe. So recently Kaiju Universe has had an update where they have added a new Kaiju. So I'm here in a private server and today I am going to be giving you a guide on this Kaiju. Its name is Singular Point Anguirus. In this video, I'll be introducing you to this kaiju. I'll be showing you its model. I'll also be showing you its moves. And I'll be showing you the preferred way to get and when you should get it. There will also be some combat strategies and what to level. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. But before that, I want to make sure that all of you know that some of my information may not be entirely correct. So you should take everything here with a grain of salt. But with that out of the way, I hope you guys will enjoy today's video and let's head straight into it. Okay, so I'll give you guys some backstory on this kaiju. So this kaiju, known as Singular Point Anguirus, first made its debut in the Netflix anime Godzilla Singular Point. So essentially, in Godzilla Singular Point, this kaiju was kind of modeled after Ankylosaurus. So I believe the creators of the show took a lot of inspiration from that. And even in the show itself, it's explained that it was named because the mayor of the grandchild, I believe, of the mayor mistook it to be an Ankylosaurus, which is a kind of dinosaur that resembles this thing. Yes, heavily armored. It has a heavily armored back with little plates all over and a clubbed tail. So I believe that's what this version of Anguirus also resembles, and it makes a lot of sense. So this version of Anguirus actually has quite a few abilities. Mainly, it is extremely durable due to its shell, which makes it quite immune to a lot of things. And the only way to really damage it is to fire a projectile at it point blank, and it has to be a big projectile, let's say a whale harpoon gun, and that's how they killed it in the show. However, that's not just enough, because Anguirus over here has the ability to manipulate time, so it can, if I'm correct, look into the future and predict exactly where you are going to fire the projectile. That way, it's able to protect itself from it. It also has this kind of future force field where it's able to protect itself from projectiles. So the only way to really damage it is to go up right to it and give it no time to react and see into the future in order to dodge your projectile. So that's how apparently they killed it in the movie. Its armor is also extremely spiky, so you can't really get up close and personal with it, because that would cause a lot of damage to you yourself. Although I'm not sure in this game, but I doubt that's a thing. I think the armor is purely for cosmetics. So now let's head to the in-game kind of feature. So Singular Point Anguirus in-game was added quite recently, and it's quite a basic kaiju. So the in-game introduction, it doesn't cost too much, only around 3,500 G cells. However, there is a requirement of a level 25 Showa Anguirus. Showa Anguirus is one of your first starter kaiju of the 3 that you will get when you first join the game. So now that's my introduction for Singular Point Anguirus, and I will be moving on to the model showcase. Okay, so now that we have the model and animation showcase out of the way, I'm going to be moving on to the move showcase. I will show you individually what each attack does, and I'll show you how to best effectively use them in combat. So Singular Point Anguirus has 4 primary attacks. Binding Vow, which is a lunging type attack. Shell Shock, which is similar to Binding Vow. Savage Augur, which is kind of a stationary high damage attack, and Ravaging Wallop, which is a charge attack. So of course I have a testing dummy here. I have an Ultima where I will be using my attacks on him and demonstrating each attack. So of course I'm gonna go ahead and try Binding Vow now. So I want you to take note of my charge meter and see how much charge it uses. So Binding Vow takes about 10 charge, which isn't too much. You should be able to use it repeatedly. And the cooldown isn't too long either. Now let's try Shell Shock. Shell Shock is quite similar to Binding Vow, except the damage difference. It's not too much of a damage difference, but it's still slightly different. So of course you can use these two interchangeably to get a combo. Shell Shock also uses the same amount of charge as Binding Vow, which is around 10. So now let's try Savage Augur. Savage Augur is a hard hitting move, so let's see how much charge it takes. So Savage Augur does around 500 damage and takes around 20 charge. Of course, you couldn't see it clearly because my charge regenerated quite quickly. And it's quite a hard-hitting attack with a long cooldown, so you want to time these attacks correctly when fighting other kaiju. Now let's try Ravaging Wallop. So I'm going to have to back up a bit because Ravaging Wallop is a charging type move and I need some distance between my enemy and I. Of course, since it's a charging move, you can also use Ravaging Wallop to escape from enemies when you're losing a fight. So now I'm going to be showing you how to use it. So just go ahead and click 4 and you'll charge towards your enemy and do a rotating move. It does repeated damage in a large area of effect and takes about 20 charge. So overall, the 4 primary attacks of Anguirus take around 10 to 20 charge, and it's quite a balanced charge amount that is required. So of course this guy is pretty much made for long endurance battles since his health is pretty good and his charge is also pretty high. Of course this is a base level Anguirus, so I haven't had any skill points level into his health or anything. Now, I'm going to be showing all of you how to use Archetype Guard. Archetype Guard is a unique utility move, as in it's a defensive type move that allows you to defend against many attacks. So Archetype Guard essentially negates all projectile damage. This includes missiles and beams from kaijus like Mechagodzilla 2021 and Godzilla Ultima, which I have right here. Now, Archetype Guard directly corresponds to the guard time, which is at max 30 seconds. Whenever you use Archetype Guard, you have a specific set amount of guard times that it will be active for, which at max is 30 seconds. However, you can also stop Archetype Guard anytime you want. Archetype Guard not only deflects and negates projectile damage, but also reduces by quite a bit physical melee damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate here. So let me go ahead and activate my Archetype Guard. Now I'll let this Godzilla Ultima here do a melee attack on me. So he's gonna do his Vastika's move. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's the move where he beams all over. It's considered a melee move. So now let's see him do it and see how well it does. So as you can see, that move dealt around 200 damage. But now I want you to bear in mind that that move typically does around 1000 damage. So I'm going to demonstrate to you now how much damage pardon me, I'm going to demonstrate to you now how much damage that move does without my guard. So go ahead and beam me. As you can see, it dealt around 1000 damage, around 1200. So in this case, it is considered a melee attack, and Architect Guard has taken around almost 90% of the damage away. Of course, my calculations may not be entirely correct, but that's my rough estimation. So of course, Architect Guard is a pretty good defensive move. However, there are some downsides to it. During Architect Guard, you cannot use any attacks, and you cannot sprint. You will move at a slower pace, and hence it isn't really that good. But Architect Guard will negate some damage from every single physical attack and melee attack, unless of course they add some kaiju in future that can negate Architect Guard. So this includes Godzilla Ultima's Mist and any other melee attack. So now let's go ahead and see how much damage Architect Guard negates from a typical beam. So in theory, it should negate all of the damage. So now go ahead and beam me. So I want you to keep a close eye on my health bar, and as you can see, I am taking no damage at all. So no matter how much damage the beam lasts, and no matter how long the beam itself lasts, I will always never take any damage. This goes the same for Mechagodzilla's missiles and any projectile-based attack, really. So of course, I'm gonna be going over how you wanna use this efficiently and how to best use this guy in a fight. Okay, so in order to get Anguirus Singular Point, you are going to need a level 25 Showa Anguirus. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you Showa Anguirus right now, if I can find him. And right here, this is Showa Anguirus, I believe. And he is one of the free kaiju that you get when you first join the game. So in order for you to get a Singular Point Anguirus, you are going to need to level this guy all the way to level 25. And in order to do that, I would recommend you level damage as much as possible. Because the higher your damage is, the more levels, the more experience and G cells you will get from fighting, from what I believe. So the same goes for any other kaiju you are trying to level. Of course, I may be wrong here, but this is from what I know. But the same goes as in it would, if you are seeking to level a kaiju, it would make sense to put all of your skill points into damage first. Hence, you will level as fast as possible. Only after you've maxed out your kaiju, then it will be wiser to kind of spread your skill points evenly across based on your play build and that kind of stuff. So I would recommend, if you are trying to max or level a kaiju, to put all of your skill points into damage. So let's say you got Anguirus to level 25, then you're going to want to go here and you're going to want to grind for 3500 G cells. Of course, that's very easy to get. All you have to do is run around and fight other people. I got 3500 G cells within a span of 1 day. So in theory, if you level your Anguirus quick enough, you should be able to get Singular Point Anguirus with a level 0 Anguirus within 1 week. So of course, you're gonna need around 1 week to level up your Anguirus and 3500 cells, but that is around the time I took to get this guy. So for when you should get it, I would recommend that you target this to be your first kaiju to get. Because firstly, of course, you only require a basic free kaiju to get it, and you only need to level it. So once you join the game, I would recommend you main Anguirus for a short amount of time to kind of level him, and afterward grind some G cells and then get this guy. Overall, because his stats are pretty even, they're pretty balanced. Of course, 3600 HP, so that's not too good, but it will last you the duration of a battle. The charge rate is also pretty good, 1 charge per second, and the max rate is also 1 charge per second. The speeds are also quite good. Of course, it's faster in water, and all of the attacks are pretty balanced too. So I recommend you make this kaiju your priority to get if you're playing this game for the first time, as it will help you a lot through your beginner stages. It's a lot more powerful than the base 3 kaijus, Kamata-kun, Gojira, and Anguirus, and it's also quite easy to get for its level. So of course, it's not as powerful as one of those higher mid-game or in-game kaijus, but it will leave you set for the rest of the mid-game. So using this guy, you can easily fight other kaiju and grind for many G cells to get more kaiju, like such as Jet Jaguar or kind of Showa King Ghidorah or Godzilla 2014, any of those mid-game kaiju that cost quite a bit of G cells. So as you can see, all of these kaiju, they cost quite a bit. So Showa Anguirus, no, Singular Point Anguirus, pardon me, is a good starter, not really starter, but it's a good early kaiju to get. So I recommend you prioritize this and try and get this early on. Okay, so now I will be talking about some combat strategies and how to fight and also what to level in Singular Point Anguirus. So for starters, for combat strategies, Singular Point Anguirus is quite a hard hitter. It deals a huge amount of damage in a relatively short amount of time, but it really depends on how you use it. So some combat strategies I would recommend is charging up to your opponent from a distance using your fourth attack. So this will deal some preliminary damage before the actual fight begins. This, of course, if they don't attempt to beam you, and if they do attempt to beam you, I wouldn't recommend actually using your beam block ability, actually using the utility move. Instead, I would recommend because the V utility move is more of a security move, so it takes a long time to activate and isn't really practical in an active battle situation. So I would recommend you use it immediately after a battle where there are still multiple people after you. So this allows you to quickly regenerate if you have not regenerated all your health from the health bonus of killing an enemy. So since you are granted slight immunity to attacks in when activating your V utility move, you'll be given some breathing space to kind of rethink your battle strategy and also regenerate Anguirus. So of course, I recommend getting your regen to be high for this kaiju so that you can regenerate in the shortest amount of time possible. So as for the leveling, I would recommend increasing your damage, of course, because this guy is a very hard hitter, your health, and your regeneration. Your regeneration will allow you to regenerate quicker, as I have elaborated just now, when you are utilizing your V utility move. So this is a very good kaiju against teamers, because immediately after killing one of them, along with the health bonus you get from killing one kaiju, you can use your regen to quickly recuperate and then focus on the others, and your V utility moves immunity can also help by offsetting some of the damage output by the opponents while you are regenerating. As for damage, of course you want to level damage, as this kaiju by itself is quite a hard hitter even at base level. At the point at which I was recording this, I was at level 10 or level 15 with 3 points into damage, I believe, or 2, and I was able to match a Godzilla 2019, which is arguably a better mid-game kaiju of a slightly higher level. So this really goes to show how hard of a hitter this kaiju is and how much damage he can output. So of course, I recommend leveling as much damage as possible, and then of course you want a bit of health. Of course, you can kind of replace health with the regeneration, but I would recommend a bit of health so that, like, of course you can endure the battle a bit longer. But Anguirus by itself, base for its level at level 1 already has 3600 health, so it's quite good of a base health. So if you are going up against low level kaijus, of course you wouldn't need to level health as much. But let's say you're in a tournament with a bunch of higher level kaijus, then of course I would recommend leveling health, as you need to endure longer for a bigger damage output. But of course I would recommend mainly leveling your damage and your regeneration. And as for the combat strategies, I would recommend charging head first into the battle at your enemy. If they attempt to beam at you, just charge straight through it and try and just spam the first, second, and third attack and try and dish out as much damage as possible. And after that, if you're fighting multiple opponents, of course you're going to want to heal for a bit, so you're going to want to activate your utility move, and this will give you a slight healing time for you to kind of rethink your battle strategy and kind of think about how you're going to defeat the opponents. Okay, so that will be it for my guide on Singular Point Anguirus. I hope you found this video and guide helpful, and do like and subscribe if you wish to see more guides like this in the future. And of course I'll be posting more. I believe my next one will be a Minecraft video, I think. And I haven't posted a video in a long time. I know I've been a bit busy with my schedule lately, but I hope to get back into YouTube as fast as possible, which is why I am currently in the late night trying to get this video out as early as possible before people start unsubscribing to my channel, of course. And yeah, so that will be it for my guide on Singular Point Anguirus. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you do, please leave a like and subscribe. And this is Blocks and Builds with another Kaiju Universe guide, signing out.